Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Salebox for the 20th of December 2011. My name is Totalbiscuit, rounding up your daily Steam deals from this particular sale. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on a daily basis, but I'm going to give it a try as much as I possibly can, as you guys seem to keep asking for it. So there's been a change, actually, in the way that the Steam sale works, in the fact that you can now pick up deals from the previous day a few hours after the next set of deals rolls over. So they give you kind of a grace period. So if you do miss some of these deals today and you end up seeing this tomorrow, you might want to end up checking anyway, because the rollover period, the grace period, may still be in effect. Alright, let's round up these daily Steam deals then, shall we? And once again, I'm going to have to give you these in pounds or just the percentage value, because my script is not working to give you the useful information for different currencies. Kind of sucks. I just wish they'd put that information on the client. I really do. Just give the information there and just be honest about the price difference, but it looks like they don't want to do that. Anyway, the first deal is a game by the name of Orchestra or Recitia, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Doesn't really matter one way or the other. It's Japanese. And also Chantilly's, which is the other game translated by that particular company. Recitia I can heartily recommend as an excellent and original title. The point behind that game is that you run an item shop in an RPG town, which is an interesting spin on things, I've got to say. Really impressive game, very well translated, very funny. This game was translated from its original Japanese by a small indie company that did a really, really good job of doing that. Carpe Fulgum, I believe, is the name of the company. It is a console game, essentially, so don't expect mouse control or anything like that, or indeed fancy resolutions. But the originality of the game does shine through. The characters are really awesome. It is very Japanesey, incredibly so. Like, if you can't deal with the kawaii agoo nonsense, I don't even know what that means, then don't. Just don't. But if you can, what you're going to find is a really original RPG and also an economic management kind of sim to some degree, where you are running an item shop in an RPG town. You also do go dungeon crawling in order to get items to sell in the shop. It's got a lot of originality. Chantilly's I can't really tell you anything about, I'm afraid, but it is very, very cheap, and you might want to give it a shot if you do like Japanese RPGs with a little bit of an original twist on them. Alright, Red Orchestra 2, 50% off. I'll be honest, I never got into this game. I really wish that I could have, but it is so realistic that I just can't deal with it. It was a bit clunky on launch. A lot of that has now been polished up. If you're looking for a very realistic shooter, then Red Orchestra 2 is definitely a good option. It's got a very high skill ceiling. It is very atmospheric. It's got some of the best gun handling that I've ever seen in any game. Tripwire are very, very good at those kind of things, and as a result, I can recommend it on that basis, but I personally did not enjoy it, because I think it is a little bit too realistic for my personal tastes. I do emphasize that, personal tastes. 50% off is a good price for a game that only came out a couple of months ago, and it puts it at a reasonable price point as far as I'm concerned. It's a good, solid title for those of you looking for something a little bit different in your FPS. Costume Quest, 75% off. This actually does come with a bonus DLC as well. For this price, I can definitely say give it a shot, because it's a really colorful and cool RPG with a few unique mechanics. You might think, well, it's a seasonal game for Halloween. Not really. I think the humor and the aesthetic do translate outside of Halloween as well. The idea being that you are a bunch of kids and you can transform into whatever your costumes are. So you can turn into pirates, giant monsters, and things like that. It's pretty cutesy, and it's by the same company that brought you games like Brutal Legend and Psychonauts. So as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely worth a look for the price that they're offering it at, which is 75% off, which means it's basically nothing whatsoever. Sacred Gold and Sacred 2 Fallen Angel, 50% off. I'd probably give that a pass unless you are really, really desperate to pick up a Diablo-style game. I'm not saying they're bad games, because they're not, and the price point is actually pretty good, especially in the UK. That takes it down to a ridiculously low price, even if it's not a deep discount. But they're not amazing games. They're good for what they are. There's some originality in there, and I've got to say it's the only game that I've ever seen with a Blind Guardian concert in the middle of the game for no apparent reason when it comes to Sacred 2. But unless you are really itching for Diablo-style action, you can probably give these a pass, because they are not incredible games. They're mediocre to good, I would say, with a few interesting ideas. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 50% off. I really don't see the point. The multiplayer is basically dead in this now. Modern Warfare 3 is out, Black Ops is out, and the single player of this game can be beaten in under 4 hours, so there's really no point in picking up Modern Warfare 2 as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to pick up a Call of Duty Modern Warfare game, pick up the original, because that actually does have a modding scene, a pro scene, and is actually a very well-balanced game, as opposed to Modern Warfare 2, which most certainly is not. Duke Nukem Forever, 75% off. Don't be fooled, it certainly is not worth it even for that price. It is an awful game. I have said so many times before. I've given you a very, very deep explanation as to why that is the case. It is awful. It's not even worth checking out as far as I'm concerned for curiosity's sake. It's an appalling game. Absolutely dreadful. The newest DLC isn't even on 75% off. I don't even know if the DLC is any good. I'm going to go with probably not. So no, do not, please do not. It will ruin your opinion of Duke Nukem. If you want a Duke Nukem game, then go and buy Duke Nukem 3D on GOG.com and then get the Atomic Pack and the HD texture pack, because it is much, much better in terms of gameplay than Forever ever will be. It's such an awful game. Please do not play it. Dungeons of Dredmor, 75% off. In the UK, that takes it down to 86 pence. At that price, you would be dumb not to buy it. Seriously, 86 pence for a really enjoyable roguelike experience. It's got a great sense of humor. It's got a lot of content. There is, in fact, a DLC for it, and they've even sliced that down as well by 75%. Takes it down to 49 pence, the realm of the Diggle gods, they call it. So there's loads of extra content there. If you've never played a roguelike game before, please start with Dungeons of Dredmor. It's a really good choice. It's an excellent game in and of its own right, with a great sense of humor, good graphic style, and it is hard. This is a game that will kill you over and over and over again, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. It's a great introduction, a great gateway drug to the subgenre of roguelike RPGs. Please try Dungeons of Dredmor. You would be very silly not to at that price. Alright, Lego Batman, 75% off. Actually a really great game, and very cheap in the UK. That takes it down to £2.50 in the UK. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but Lego, all of these Lego games are actually really awesome to their own degree. I'd still say that Lego Star Wars is the best of the lot, but Lego Batman comes in a close second, in my honest opinion. It is very enjoyable. The sense of humor is surprisingly adult. There are some really great jokes in there. There's some great co-op and plenty of longevity in this particular title. If you are a Batman fan of any sort, you could definitely do worse than to pick up Lego Batman, because you will enjoy it, you will find it funny. It's a solid title. It is not just for kids, in my honest opinion, although children can very easily play it too. Tropico 4, 66% off. Not a bad price. It doesn't take it down to a really low price, especially not in the UK, because Tropico 4 is a fairly recent game. There was a full £30 release, so that takes it down to just over £10. It is a good game, honestly, but it's very, very similar to Tropico 3. So if you really enjoyed Tropico 3, then you might want to pick it up, but just bear in mind that it's not going to have evolved in any meaningful respect. It's just a bit more. In my opinion, it should have been an expansion pack, honestly. They didn't really polish up the engine all that much. It's an iteration and not certainly a revolution in terms of that franchise. I love Tropico 3 to death. Tropico 4, it's like, well, this is really, really familiar. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't really know if it justified the full price release, honestly. One of the DLC is also cheaper. The other one, the recent one, Plantador, is not. And the DLC don't really offer all that much in terms of extra gameplay anyway. So, in my opinion, that one might be a pass. And you may want to look to see if Tropico 3 is significantly cheaper, or if that ends up going on sale at some point. Because Tropico 3 is definitely worthwhile for a much lower price than that, and is a fantastic game in its own right. Alright, Witcher and Witcher 2. 75% off Witcher and 40% off Witcher 2. In my opinion, Witcher 2 is one of the best PC games released this year, without a shadow of a doubt. It is a beautiful game. It is extremely well put together. It is a fantastic role-playing experience, and it is sufficiently deep and challenging as well. You would be foolish not to pick this up if you want a good RPG. Some people will say that Skyrim is RPG of the year, but as far as a PC RPG, I think Witcher 2 blows it right out of the water. It was blatantly designed as a PC game from the outset. It's got a ton of extra content that they added in for free as well, including the arena system, dark mode, and all sorts of new features available in the 2.0 patch, which does come with it. It is absolutely stellar in almost every respect. Amazing storytelling, great voice acting, proper adult themes in there as well. Really worth a look. If you haven't looked at this game and maybe you're a bit sick of Skyrim, you're wanting something a bit different, a little bit more directed, not so much open world, Witcher 2, unbelievable game, an astonishing achievement for CD Projekt Red. You would be foolish not to pick it up if you're looking for an RPG experience. 75% off the original Witcher, that's also a really good game. You don't have to have played the first one to enjoy the second, but if you're looking to sink a lot of time over Christmas and New Year, Witcher and Witcher 2 are a good option. And of course, Witcher runs on older systems, whereas Witcher 2 is quite demanding, regardless of the optimizations that they put in, because it is a very pretty game indeed. It is one of the best looking games that I've ever seen on PC, so certainly you should be looking at Witcher. Very, very cool. Half-Life. I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you about Half-Life. Who the hell does not own Half-Life really now? You can get Half-Life Complete for 75% off. Astonishing games. Everybody knows about Half-Life. You don't need any more information on that. And last, but by no means least, or indeed perhaps least, we've got Theatre of War. I couldn't tell you about this game, honestly. I would love to be able to give you information on Theatre of War, but I do not know a damn thing about this series. I think, honestly, that the kind of people that are looking into games like this and are interested in games like this probably already know about Theatre of War. Those who aren't into that, they could, I would imagine, safely skip it. It is 75% off, so it's easy enough just to easily pick one of them up. I mean, I think, if I recall correctly, the most recent one is Theatre of War 3 Korea. That's 75% off, and I don't know, it's not something that I'm really into in any way, these kind of more advanced war games. So, at your own risk on that one, as far as I'm concerned. Alright, folks, there you go. That's been the Salebox for today, covering the daily deals available on Steam. Remember, there is a grace period, but don't overstay that grace period. It does only exist for a couple of hours at the end of each sale. New sales always come on at 6 p.m. GMT. That's 1 p.m. EST on Steam, and needless to say, Steam tends to slow down to a crawl and break horribly whenever it happens. So, do try and keep an eye on that and make sure not to miss some great deals. I'll see you next time.